We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. Nick Barris here with elder care attorney Tim Takis, taking your calls at 737-7587. Good to have you on. He says he's busy as usual, and as the baby boomers age, I mean, this becomes something a lot of people
glad to hear from folks calling us, and like I've always said is that I know we'll have the contact information up. But,
absolutely.
You know, you mentioned your parents in Idaho, and I know lawyers just about everywhere.
That's the thing. I mean,
and so if you call me, at the office and say I need help for my mom in Maryland, I'm going to be able to send you to somebody.
Yeah, and it's a specialized field. I mean, now within the law of elder care and what they deal with, and that's great because you do know a lot of people. So if you have family you're dealing with, like I do, outside the state. Locally, Tim's here. Otherwise, he knows people outside and about. And we'll have his contact information up at the end of the show. So stay with us. Let's go to Cindy. Cindy, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hey, Cindy, how are you?
Well, I'm kind of ticked off.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, my mother died on April 5th. I called you guys for help. I called the elder law for help. Most of them are just volunteers, okay? I had everybody trying to do an investigation because of what my aunt did, who only came around after 50 years. And you know what? Not one of them went there to help me. And nor could I, when they immediately took my mother for cremation, and I couldn't even get an autopsy. So don't tell me that they're going to sit there and help me, because you know what? I begged everybody to help me.
Well, what happened then? What are you saying? What did you need help for, so you can be clear on that for us? Was it an investigation into the way she died, or with the money, or what was the thing that you needed help with?
I needed it because she'd been taken away from us for a long time, and then she started getting dementia. And then my aunt came back after 50 years and took over, who didn't even care, my mom's sister, about my mother. All it was about making a buck.
I've heard that before, and I'm sorry, Cindy, for that. And there can be a lot of reasons why law enforcement and otherwise can't get involved in this, or if you hire lawyers. But you do hear that. You've probably seen this sometimes, where someone starts sliding, maybe someone has some money, and as she said, money's behind it. And all of a sudden, of course, she's here caring for her mother all these years, loves her very much, and then all of a sudden this aunt comes flying in out of the blue when mom gets sick. And then there's a battle over the estate, or I don't know all the details.
And of course, we don't know the details, and unfortunately her mom's passed, and so we don't know what could have been done to prevent that. Well, so sometimes, unfortunately, people wind up in court, and maybe Cindy should have wound up in court, going to the judge and saying, my aunt is here, and I'm trying to take care of my mom. And
who has more of a leg up in that one? I'm just wondering. Okay, assuming there's not a will that specifies
it would be the daughter.
Yeah, I would think the daughter would have preference over the sister of the woman here, right? So Cindy had a little leg up. Now we don't know if the will was changed without her knowledge.
We don't know if she had a power of attorney, but I mean, assuming that maybe Cindy's mom did not have a power of attorney, then Cindy goes to court and said, Judge, I need help because I'm trying to take care of my mom, and my aunt showed up, and she's trying to take over, and I need some, and the judge says, okay, Cindy, you have priority because that's how it works. If they have a priority, spouse, children, so on. So she goes to court and says, I need help, and the judge says, okay, I'm going to name you conservator. You're in charge of taking care of your mom, and if you need help, come back to me.
Yeah.
That's what judges do.
Right.
We don't necessarily like that, but sometimes that's what we have to have.
Is that the last, the conservatorship, where you
that's usually we say that's the last resort.
What if the mom is fighting the conservatorship? Well, I'm okay. You can't do it. The judge has to evaluate.
Well, the judge evaluates. Does this person really need the assistance of this court?
You're taking away the person's will to do what they want.
Yeah. And the law now is in what's prevalent now in the conservatorship area is that the minimal rights that are taken away that are needed to protect them.
That's the way it should be. Yes. I mean, I worry about that. That would be the last. I think about that with my folks. It's never gotten to that point. That's the last thing I want to do. Plus, not the least of which, if you have a conservatorship over someone and they do something bad, are you responsible for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need that either.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Joe. Joe, good morning.
Morning, Nick.
Hey, Joe, what's on your mind?
Got a couple of questions for him.
Mr. Takis, what's the typical layout of an assisted living quarters? And second question is, what about home health care, where some member of your family is appointed to help you do some of your basic things at home, or if not one of your family, someone from outside would come in a few days a week or whatever to.
So let's talk about the typical layout. Most of them are 1 story, maybe 2 stories. Some of them, they're starting to build them sometimes.
They look different than a nursing home, though?
Yeah, they are.
They're more like an apartment
for instance,
building?
where my in-laws live, Lynn's parents in Hendersonville.
Okay.
It's just a 2-story building, I think.
That's different than
like
a Del Webb thing that's in
just like
Providence, which is more-
apartments.
Oh, okay.
So like in the unit where they live, there's a bedroom, there's a living room, and then there's like a sitting room.
Okay.
And there's a little kitchen that's like right off the living area. So it's actually probably about 500, 600 square feet.
Okay, small.
Fairly small, but.
Cafeteria down the hall in the building?
There's a dining room downstairs.
Okay.
So then they have like a theater there. A lot of them places like little places where they show movies and things, and they have library, exactly. Dining areas. Some places they'll have a dining area for families that. Okay, let's say you want to bring your kids in or your family in to come and have dinner with you, and they have private dining areas, so those sorts of things. So, and it's kind of like all over the lot because, like we talked about, it could be it could be $2,000 a month for sort of the basics, to maybe $5,000 or $6,000 a month for a very
much more intensive needs.
Exact,
sure.
Or either not just, but luxuries.
Luxuries as well. You could go that way. I've
exactly, because it's like it's a home-like environment, and there are people out there that we always say about that is that maybe the assisted living that you would like to live in may not be the one that your mom and dad would like to live in,
right? Because
they have a culture.
Yeah.
Facilities, assisted livings have a culture.
So you have to pick up on that by visiting it?
You kind of have to see, it's like,
I mean, just walk. Of course, you're going to visit it, but I mean, to walk around, and how do you pick up the culture?
Well, it's kind of like one is like looking around. Okay, are the residents when you go to like the dining room? They're ordering off the menu, say. Well, what kind of food do they serve? Is it very fancy, so to speak? Is it very sort of more country or very plain? Could you see your parents like ordering from the menu every day? Would they have white napkins and whatnot?
Yeah.
And some people are not just real comfortable with that because.
Well, could it be like Golden Corral and you're just walking through a line?
Could be.
Yeah.
And people go, yeah, that's great for me.
Yeah.
That's great for me, but ordering from the menu and all that other stuff, they may feel uncomfortable about that,
right?
Because it's just not something.
Depends on what, but what you're saying is it's all available.
It's all available.
All right, let's go to Mike. Hello, Mike.
Yeah, Nick, just wanted to tell you thank you for talking about this topic. You don't think about it until you get a little older and have to deal with it. We're dealing with this with my stepfather. He recently totaled out his vehicle, and luckily he wasn't hurt.
Wow.
Then he had another crash in the driveway, and he's in the assisted living facility now. But it's a serious topic, and I appreciate y'all taking it on, and I want you to hopefully keep this on the front burners in the future. I just wanted to compliment y'all.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, thanks. Hey, how did had you guys tried to get the keys away from him, and he just insisted on wanting to keep driving, but you knew, or how did that work out?
Well, it's tough. We live next door to him, and I bought this house 14 years ago just for this reason, to try to help my folks when they get older. He's very independent.
Yep.
And it's tough. It really is, and it's really sad when you see, their minds kind of wander, and he's getting into dementia. But he never really wanted to go to nurse home, so we tried all we can to kind of hold back. But he's my stepfather and does have kids that live further away than us, probably 25 miles. But yeah, it's a tough issue, and the dementia and all this, it's serious issues that I really appreciate Channel 5 and you taking this on.
Hey, Mike, thanks for your call, and I hear what you're saying. It's tough with the driving part of it. Now, just so you know what I did, and I told Tim this, my dad refuses to give up his driver's license, and now we've got him in Boise, and he doesn't have a car right now. We're working through that. But while he was still in Oregon, I told you what I did. Oregon's one of the states, and I'm not sure if we have it in Tennessee. I contacted the DMV and said, you've got an elderly driver here and I'm his son, and I've watched it, who has a problem, and you need to check him out. First time they flagged him and they sent him in, he passed. So then a year later, he has a few more minor fender benders and a ticket, and I write him again. And I said, listen, this is getting worse. You guys have to get it together. You don't need some DMV inspector to kind of, not paying attention, just checking him off. Watch him.
Right.
Next time he went in, he failed. They called him back in. He couldn't understand why he kept getting called back in to test. Now in Oregon, they don't reveal to the person who it is, and it has to. And you have to have some documentation. They don't just do this willy-nilly. I had his driver's license number. I had contact for me.
Otherwise, you could be harassed.
But my biggest fear, Tim, was one, obviously, that he and my mom are driving and they get in a wreck where they hurt themselves, or God forbid, they get in a wreck and hurt someone else. I couldn't allow that to happen, and so I turned him into the DMV, and the second time he really didn't pass. Now he's in Boise and he's thinking, well, now I get a clean slate in Idaho. I'm like, okay, Dad, whatever. Another letter is going to be written, and so that it's not on us taking the keys away. It'll be the state. And so, Dad, you can't drive without a license, right?
Now, and the thing about that is the key thing there is two things. One is that it becomes a safety issue, and you're going, okay, we got that taken care of. But now for the dignity issue and the independence issue, then it's like, okay, what options do you have?
And that's important to me.
That's the thing that makes
because I want to think about if I'm in that position, how do I want to be treated? I won't like having my car taken away either. So I want to think what's fairest and best. Now, you take that away and you take away their independence to go and be and do things, and that's why I think assisted living, where you have an area, and my brother will be there to take them out and go places, of course, but in general, on a day-to-day basis, I want them to be able to go down to the library or go down to the pool hall or to go and mingle with friends in the same facility. That's crucial.
That's the socialization.
Yes.
And then if they want to get out, usually those facilities will have transportation. Sometimes shuttles. Sometimes the transportation could be sometimes the facility, depending on the services that they provide, maybe you pay a la carte for it. You want to have a driver, so you arrange for Deborah, to take you, and of course Deborah,
kind of like paid. Lynn took you to work today.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah. So literally, that person is paid, and there's nothing that says they can't take a cab or a ride-sharing service.
Uber. Yep. No, you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
Those work out very well.
You need to find alternatives. Listen, we need to take a break. We've got many more calls for you. Busy morning today. This is good. The number is 737.
Must be the guest.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And the topic.
We'll take a break and the topic. More of your calls. Lines open. Elder Care attorney Tim Takis, 737-7587. Back with more of your calls. Stay on hold right after this.